Hey y'all, this is TCA Gaming, and in this video, we are going to go over something that my friend Cam But Cards sent me. This box right here. We're going to see if we can figure out what is inside of it because he just sent me an empty box, and I think it's kind of cool. But if you guys don't know who Cam is, all you got to do is go to Instagram and search for Card Baits, which is card with a K, B8S, or Cam, comma, but cards. Thank you very much for putting that comma in there. We had a conversation about it. He didn't always have that comma there, but it didn't make sense to me without the comma because, you know, that comma gives you a little bit of space, a little bit of gap when you say something. So it's Cam, but cards instead of Cam, but cards, because that's a little weird. But anyways, here's his page. He's got some cool stuff on here. Not a ton of Pokemon. He really likes Rodney Mullen. If you guys played Tony Hawk, you probably know who that is. Or if you just watched, you were around during the time when skating was huge, or if you're in skating now, you probably still know who Rodney Mullen is. But anyways, he works at PSA Card, one of the few people I know who works there. I don't think he's high up, on the chain. However, it wouldn't surprise me if he did get there because he is very smart and very intuitive when it comes to collectibles, and I think he has a head on his shoulders that's worthwhile. So definitely appreciate him being my friend and sending me this cool box. Now, before we get into the box that he sent me, I did want to bring up this right here. The hobby bin is what you can find down there in the description, but they actually have another giveaway. Win a sealed Japanese Tohoku Pikachu box, the hobby bin giveaway. So if you guys have ever seen those like exclusive Japanese boxes that have a cool promo inside of them that come out just in Japan, this is one of those boxes. I want to say that they're a couple $100 right now. It is Pokemon Center exclusive to Japan, and it does have a Pikachu. I believe he's wearing clothes. It's not like Mario Pikachu level, but it is still pretty cool. But all you got to do is enter the giveaway through here. I will put a link to this down there in the description, but you can also find it from that link that I have down there for the Discord where you can get notifications. They've got some cool stuff in here like the visual sets, like if you want to see Phantasmal Flames and get a sneak peek in some of the cards. I think there's a Mega Gengar deck that's coming out. That's where that Mega Gengar is from. I really like this. Where's it at? There's a Haunter. See if it loads here in a second. There's a Haunter that I believe comes in this deck that's pretty cool. There's a Charizard. I think that's just a known card. But yeah, this looks pretty cool. I mean, maybe it's because I like the border. I like the cartoony feel sometimes of the cards where I can definitely tell where one piece is the Pokemon and then there's like the background. I do think Lugia and Giratina, from like the Sword and Shield sets look really cool. But at the same time, I can't always tell what's going on because everything's all meshed together. But anyways, I like that. And I hope you guys take a minute and go enter the giveaway because, I mean, it is free and you could just win something here. And then there's 10 other prizes for $25 gift cards for TCG players. So you can go buy whatever you want. But anyways, let's get back to the gift that Cam gave me. I definitely appreciate that. And so let's look at it a little bit more closely. All right. So we have this box here. The main thing that we're going to see, we've got, 11 by 10 by 2 and 5/8. So it's 602 packs. So we know that there were 600 cards in here, and it was 2 cards per pack, presumably looking at that. You can see it was within the United States. The container doesn't really give us a whole lot of information, but we've got this right here. WB Warner Brothers Pictures. Promo. Number 1, July 21st, quantity 600. Now, looking at this WB Warner Brothers Pictures emblem, most of you are probably thinking that, hey, this is a slam dunk. It's probably the promos for Electabuzz, Mewtwo, Pikachu, or Dragonite, numbers 2 through 5. And, because those particular promos actually had WB Presents on them. So you'd be thinking that they were one of these 2 promos here. Now, if we look at this one here, we've got this yellow insert, and then we have this little purple insert right here. And so, if we let's just look at these, and then we'll analyze it a little bit more. This is going to be really boring for those of you who don't like to go deep. All right, but here we go. Here's how: collect all 4 unique cards in this Pokemon series. Present this card at any Warner Brothers Studio store, or go to wbstore.com. You'll receive another random Pokemon card from this series with any purchase of $10 or more, or come back and relive the excitement of Pokemon the first movie at this theater. You'll receive another random card from the series with your movie ticket purchase. So what this is saying is you get one of these at the movie theater, you can come back to the movie theater and get another one, or you could go to a Warner Brothers Studio store and buy something for $10 and they'll send you another one. Now, if we actually look at what we got going on in here, we have a Pikachu with the WB Presents Pokemon the first movie. Then we have the Iron Giant coupon. And then we have this here, which when we flip it over, we have Catch Mew. It's like, wait a minute, that's that card over there. But, oh, wait, this one's got rounded corners, so that's a little different. And then this one actually says, join the Pokemon Trading Card Game League and earn a free Mew game card available January 8th, 2000 while supplies last. All right, so just from looking at this, there are a few issues. So you didn't have Google, you didn't have the internet, you couldn't look anything up. This is January 8th, the year 2000. And we were given, where are we at? July 21st. All right, well, so that's not good. July 21st. It couldn't be in 1999. Well, I mean, if you know the movie releases, you know, it couldn't be 1999. So this would actually have been 6 months or so later. And this right here is talking about January. Typically, you know, the movies don't stay in the theater that long, much less a Pokemon movie, even though back then Pokemon was really on fire. Also, we have 3 cards here. So this is the card you would get at the theater, and then you could buy something and get another card sent to you, or you could go back to the movie theater, as it was saying, buy another ticket, and of course you get a free card with it. All right, so let's look at this one here. It's like, well, this should be like the same thing, right? Well, this is what I believe you would get if you bought from the studio. You know, you spent your $10. I believe that they would send you this one. So here we have another Pikachu. It's the same card, but this Catch Mew. It doesn't have that other insert with the yellow part on it. It's got a white back, and the corners are not rounded. They just, you know, stuck something in there. This is a 2-pack, right? Maybe this was the redemption card that you got, and you can get it all the way through July, you know, July 21st, you know, or even later beyond that. But likely it was not the case, just looking at, you know, what we've got going on here. Because there's more information out there about this. Of course, if any of you have Googled it or if you've seen what comes in that box that Cam sent me, you probably already know. But let's actually take a look at what a 2-card empty box looks like for. In fact, I'm going to have to switch this to my face, I think, for the WB. All right. Now I'm going to try. Hopefully it's not zoomed in on my face. If it is, I'm sorry, guys. It's just a big, long box. But I'm going to read it to you, what that white sticker said. It gives a some kind of number, but it says quantity 1,800 Warner Brothers 2-card promo packs, Wizards of the Coast. And I don't know if you could see the actual writing on there. That's November 26th, 1999. Jose Maria 7W 2nd. And so that is, and I know for a fact that we have promos that come out of that because I've got these right here. You know, they're still not even pulled apart. Here, I'll do a few, see if we can get some ASMR. There we go. Here, they've never been pulled apart. Now I have taken some out of here, so some have been pulled apart, but there's like a row where they're just all still stuck together. These are these original promos that you could only get from those boxes, that I assume that they were the mail-in versions. Who knows? Maybe you could have gotten those from the theaters as well if, you know, some places ran out and they restocked them. But that's the one that I assume that you would get. Like you would get this version here, sealed up, after you mailed in, or I guess after you spent $10 from the Warner Brothers studio store. And so you might be thinking to yourself, okay, well, if it's not those promos, you know, what is it? Because that's an 1,800 count box. Maybe it was the mail-in ones, but the dates don't line up. Well, Warner Brothers actually bought the rights to another movie to distribute. And so the movie that lines up with it is actually this one right here. Got Ancient Mew. There's all kinds of different versions. I'm just showing you guys 3 versions because it fits inside of this frame pretty well. So like this is the UK only version. That's what that UK down there is. This one right here, I believe this might be the Norwegian. I'm not too sure. If you guys know Jewel, He's like the sealed promo king. He knows all that kind of cool stuff. And then this is the regular theatrical U.S. version release. You can see it's got the black letters and the black print down here, so the purple. So like if you ever see some that are graded by PSA, some will say black letters, some will say purple letters, some will say UK. There's other versions too. The Australian, I think they did it the best, because if you notice on the back side here, they don't actually show you the Ancient Mew card. But the Australian version does. They've got it flipped around, and the insert's a little bit cooler with the birds. But anyways, the Ancient Mew movie, this one released around, I think it was late June, early July, something like that. And so Warner Brothers had bought the rights to distribute Ancient Mew, and so that's where we get this WB, Warner Brothers Pictures, from. And they distributed them in boxes of 600. I have seen quantity 1,200, but I think it was the non-US version. But I want to show you guys something cool too. So while we figured out what it was, inside was Ancient Mew. If you've already guessed that, that's awesome. That's great. You're probably pretty deep into the hobby. It's not actually the Warner Brothers promos. Look at this. Look at that. Jose. Did you guys notice? And look, I mean, it's a different handwriting, but I'm going to just say that the inspector, because that was different. Maybe they were the ones, checking it out. But same kind of, like stamp right here. You got machine 9W, shift second. But if we go back to this one here. Yeah, well, maybe I should switch the cameras around. Wrong side. There we go. Jose. It's a very similar layout, same kind of stamper. Man, I can't get this centered for nothing. It is 6 months apart. Jose's, fairly common name. But I like to think in my mind that there was this one guy that was so good that he operated all the machines, and his name was Jose. And he was the real distributor, master distributor for all these cards. And so, Jose, we have both of your boxes now. They are still being kept because you did such a good job packing them out and sending promos out to kids 25 years ago. All right, that's all I have for that. I realize it was a very deep delve into an empty box, but I find it cool. I see it as a piece of history. I like, having those kinds of things around, as long as I don't accidentally have a kid throw it away or mark on it, because sometimes they go crazy with arts and crafts up in my, I guess you could call it an attic. I don't have a basement. I have an attic full of Pokemon cards. But I did want to mention one other thing other than Cam. Thank you very much, my friend. You gave me a video to have on some very niche stuff. You guys see this box? So this is the actual case. 1,800 count for the promos. You guys can't see the name. I'm not going to let you see the name, but that's the label. The dude spent $195.15 on shipping to me. And he put the label on the box and just shipped it like that. And because of that, it actually arrived with one of these. We're so sorry that your article was damaged during processing. I'm still bitter about that. He could have just put it into another box and sent it snail mail for $20, and I would have been happy. But instead, he spent $200 on shipping and put that label directly onto the box, which is very unfortunate. I got it in, and I was like, are you kidding me? And then there was a hole ripped in the side, and there was a few of the promos that had fell out. But thankfully, because they're all still stuck together, not too many of them fell out, and not many of them were that damaged. So I am a little bitter about that, but I do still have that original carton. It does have a lot of that information on it, so I'm grateful to have it. Thank you again, Cam, and I hope that you find many more cool things like this, and maybe we can figure out what's going on the inside. And I appreciate those of you who sent pictures to me on Instagram showing me your case of Ancient Mew cards, because Cam, as good a friend as he is, he did not send the Ancient Mews with that empty box. He just sent the empty box, told me about a trade he made with Z&G he traded away 100 of his Ancient Mews for a specific item. We'll just say he lost out in the long run, but you just never know with that kind of stuff. And anyways, guys, hope you enjoyed the video, and let me know if you have further comments or information that can dive even deeper into the information about this empty box that has just been written on and there's nothing inside it anymore. Thanks.